everything.
Hi, I'm Hannah.
Hi, I'm Jordan.
Hi, I'm Pam. I'm the newbie.
Hi, I'm Ann.
Hi, I'm Marie, and this is Speedy, and we are coming to you live from Austin, Texas, because it's
Happy Woolly Wednesday!
And Merry Christmas! Merry Christmas, everyone. Happy holidays. Whatever you celebrate, we're so glad to have you here with us. Man, these gals have been running a little bit crazy today. Would you say?
Yes,
Definitely.
Running around. Pam, you're brand new. How long have you been here now?
6 days now.
What have you learned?
A whole lot. I didn't know felting was this intricate and detailed and so cool, and I'm excited to learn more.
Are you having fun?
Yes, definitely.
We are so glad to have you with us here today. It's a great, beautiful Wednesday in Austin, Texas, and we hope to have some fun needle felting with you today. That's what we're going to work on, and we're going to get started.
Have fun.
I'm going to just say hi to a few folks, just a little shout out. I'm going to cue up my screen here so that I can see you. And if you're joining us for the first time, we are Living Felt. We're based here in Austin, and most people are probably checking in saying hi and where they're from. And so you can join us in that too, and maybe even tell us what temperature it is where you are, if it's snowing or whatever. We are having a glorious, rare blue sky day here in Austin. And I am queuing us up and turning me down so I can see you and say hello. See who's here. Oh, there's Joanne. Merry Christmas, Darlene. Merry Christmas, Joanne is in Pennsylvania. I know there's Kate and Penny. So nice to see you. And Happiness, that's Ann, of course, if you guys don't know. There's Judy and Vicky. It's so nice to see you all. It is a crazy Christmas here, and that's just absolutely fun. People coming in, some of you getting gift certificates. We're not telling who. That's pretty fun. Lots of activity in the store today as well. Lots of Pennsylvania folks. Tennessee, hi Linda, nice to see you. And Sharon, always probably sunny in Arizona. Judy. Hey, listen y'all, we are just so glad to be spending this day with you and that you're belting your Christmas away with us and your holiday days. And we actually have a very special shout out today, and I'm going to let Hannah kick us off with that.
Hey everybody, Merry Christmas. I wanted to give a special shout out and a very big thank you, and we love you, to Kimberly Pulli of Pullies Woollies. She made us these beautiful gifts for the holiday. We all got purses.
They're beautiful.
Yes, but thank you so much, Kimberly. You're amazing, and we can't wait till July and we get to see you and meet you in person.
Thank you so much, Kimberly. We feel so honored.
Yes.
Look at this now. Let's have Ann hold hers up
Yes.
so she can see the incredible. Go get in there.
Okay.
We'll make a little room. I think you should. Oh, let me see. Are you in there? Oh, look at all the hearts. Everyone's just loving that. Oh, that is so amazing. Beautiful. Linda says, love your Santa hat. Very cool. Thanks, you guys. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Kimberly.
Thank you. I'm going to take this opportunity now just to tell you something really quick. So let me show you this. Kimberly gifted me, she says, the purse that didn't work. So this is Marie's new wall art. I'm going to frame this. So some of y'all remember this piece. She shared this. And what I want to tell you is that Kimberly and I have been talking. She has been felting so many portraits. I think you all know that. And some of you may not know that she is coming here July of next year to teach a portraits class. Now online we had posted that we were going to do the lady with the parrot. But Kimberly is ready to open it up to portraits in general. And I want to tell you that I am so excited to take this class. So we have seats available in the July class. Ann is going to post a link. This is your opportunity to spend 3 days with Kimberly, and we're not going to make purses, but she's going to teach us her process for making these felted portraits. And if you look at them up close, you can see she's using our MC1 batting. She's using merino top. She's doing nano felt inlays, all kinds of just interesting, intricate attention to detail. It's wet felting and needle felting, and man, it's going to be so much fun. So come felt with me, come felt with Kimberly, come meet the fairies and Speedy too, and come to this class in July because it's just going to be awesome. Okay, cool. Now we had a request for a product highlight, and I'm going to let Jordan do that.
Alrighty, 1 second. Here we go. Alrighty, guys. Hope you're having a great December. So this request comes from Patty Burry, and she wanted to know a little bit more about the New Zealand Corriedale Goody Bag. So right now we have all of these colors in this awesome goodie bag. We always select 15 colors across the rainbow. We want to get you a good, beautiful assortment. Our New Zealand Corriedale is going to be a coarser roving between 27 and 33 microns. And it's got these beautiful jewel tones, some very vibrant and bright colors. We have over 50 colors in the New Zealand Corriedale, and we love putting these together for you. So in these, you're going to get 15 of these awesome strips. They're between 12 and 15 inches long, and they come all throughout the rainbow. We try to make sure there's a great assortment of colors for you guys. So right now, our New Zealand Corriedale bags are on sale for $17.29. And they are just absolutely beautiful. I put these together yesterday, and I love doing it. So, Patty, I hope that helps you a little bit, and there you are.
That's perfect.
Awesome, guys.
Oh, she says, now Renee asked if you buy 2 goodie bags, will they be different?
No, we try to keep them the same. Unless you specifically requested that, they would be the same too. And they come in this awesome bag, all put together like a peppermint of awesomeness.
Thank you, Jordan.
Of course.
So we make all of our goodie bags in packs in really large amounts at one time. And sometimes they're all the same, and sometimes we might have 2 or 3 different batches running. So if you want 2 different packs, request it in your order comments or give us a call, and we can let you know what we have or what's available at the time. And if we can get you 2 different packs, we absolutely will. We will. Okay, so today we had some interesting requests, and we know that we can't do them all. But we're going to do, today what we're going to do is needle felting. And I know some of you are just itching for wet felting, which I promise we allocate a lot of time for each year, or we did this entire year. Next session, we're going to do wet felting. So the next broadcast, we will touch more on wet felting and nano felting and try and answer some of your questions. So for today, and especially those of you who are new, we like the session to be interactive. We're going to be doing some demonstrations and trying to answer some repeat questions that are really common for everyone, and especially when you're just getting started, and hopefully try and demystify some of the process for you all around needle felting topics. So feel free to chime in, offer your suggestions, or ask questions within the topic. And if you have ideas for other topics, then we will table those for another session. Are we good? Good. Okay. So there were requests to see, one of the requests that came in, or one of the questions that came in, was about firmness and fine lines, and we tried to address that last time. That came from Susie Kohler, and she says when she's needle felting, she loses her fine lines. So I wanted to swing back and try and answer these questions with a little bit of a demonstration. Some people wanted to see the gnome, and some people wanted to see the fox. So what we're going to do today is a demonstration of the gnome, and we're going to address firmness and show you some techniques that you can use no matter what you're making, and some of those will lend themselves to the fox. So before I go on too much babbling, I want to show you 2 different pieces that we have felted. One is, this is just a ball. This is just using our core wool, which is called CW1, and this is just a little dome comb shape. So it's got a flat bottom and a rounded top. This is an example of a starting shape that could be used for a gnome or even our little fox. But what's more important is I want you to look at how firm they are. And I'm going to have Anne come here and help me for a second. She's typing away. Anne, come over here. On a scale of 1 to 10, when you squish that, if 10's the firmest and 1 is squishy, 0 is super squishy, where is that?
Probably about an 8.
About an 8. Okay. And what about this peppermint? Jordan made this peppermint, y'all, so I'm going to show you this gorgeous ornament that she made. On a scale of 1 to 10, firmness.
That's like a 9.
Okay, now this gorgeous beast I'm going to show off for the first time, and I'll tell you all about it here in a second, but I want you to give this critter a squeeze in a couple of different directions. And tell me, what's the firmness? 8 to 10.
It's like an 8 or a 7.
8 to 9, you're
Yeah.
probably, like an 8 to a 9. So look at this gorgeous, gorgeous cat, you all. This beautiful, beautiful tiger. I'm just going to pause for a second and get myself out of the way. So you can see this animal. Notice the detail in the face. And am I synced up on the face? Where do I need to go, this way?
Down. Oh, I'm sorry, tilt it a little bit. Perfect.
There's the face. Look at all the lines in this body. Lots of lines, lots of detail, beautiful blending. I know you know who made this, and it was Nedds of the Woolen Wagon. This beautiful creature belongs to my husband. He let me bring it in today. This was his birthday present this year, was this commission by Megan. And thank you, Rodney Jean. He's busy doing his own videos today. He let me bring it in. I wanted to bring this in, 1, for today's lesson, and 2, also to encourage you all to think about coming to her workshop in April, because we still have seats available. We're going to do cats, whether you want to do a domestic feline or a big wild cat like this. 3 days felting with Megan Nedds, and I promise you she doesn't hold anything back. But the reason I wanted to bring it in for this example is because this firmness is not a 10. It's somewhere between an 8 and a 9, and maybe some parts are more like a 7. But it's a really firm sculpture, and the detail on it is just impeccable. So notice how fine, how straight the lines are, and how controlled every bit of it is. And I want to contest that I think you have much more control over detail when you felt a firm piece than when you felt a loosey-goosey piece. And the reason is that the wool, when you have a loose piece like this one, if you notice just how it behaves to my finger, if I put colored wool, as I start to needle felt wool into this and I want to add details to it, the wool caves in and caves in and caves in. So it's very difficult to get a lot of detail when the surface that you're putting the detail on continues to shift and move and migrate. You need something firm enough so that the design you're putting on will stay. Does that make sense?
We have a couple of questions.
Sure. Ask away.
Cece Smith asks, what is the tag on the tiger's hip?
Oh yeah, we've showed Megan's tags before. She had these made by someone on Etsy, and early in the year we showed, I'm gonna see if I can get that to focus. We showed some examples of tag makers on a Woolly Wednesday broadcast, because a few of our resident artists here in our community have their own tags made, and there are some interesting people on Etsy and even in the US that make tags. So, okay, other questions?
Yes. Renee Gatewood says, I am guilty of soft felting. Is that wrong?
I don't think there's any wrong, Renee. It's just when you're trying to get specific control over the detail in your piece, I personally find it's easier to get those details when your piece is firmer at the base. And now, people say sometimes this wool needle felts more firmly, more quickly than another wool. You definitely want to use what you want, what you like to use, but this is our core wool. This is our MC1 core wool, and what I want to teach you about, I ain't even bringing it in here, but what I want to teach you about felting this, and I'm going to beg of Anne to grab me a couple of strips of core wool, is that if you start your shapes out this firm, this loose, unfirm, if you will, or this squishy, it's going to be very hard to get them very firm, because your needle just wants, this is one of my coarse needles. This is a 36, and this is blue is the 32. Even though the needles will grab onto the wool, they just want to pass through. They still want to pass through, pass through, pass through, and it would take a long time to take up all this space, because the needle is going to only felt as far as it can go down, and it's going to felt the surface first. So some people felt a little more like me, and Megan felt the same way. She felt more firmly more of the time, I would say, but her approach when you want something super dense and firm is the same, and that is you start out with it firm in the first place. So let me just grab a tool here. That tool, the first tool I'm going to grab is just this very fancy chenille stem, and say, if you want to practice felting towards a firm core, get yourself some chenille stems or wire. So what I'm going to show you now, when you're making stuff that is, you want it to be firm, it can really help to have a core. So what I'm going to do on this chenille stem is the same approach that we would take on the wire, that I would take. Now, asked, Deborah, was it Deborah? Duda asked what's the difference between MC1 and CW1 core wool. I just posted yesterday the answer to what is MC1. So what I'll tell you is what's the same. This is our core wool batting. This is just a little tiny strip of it. Both our CW1 core wool and our MC1 are from domestic sheep raised right here in the US. They're both washed with an eco-friendly soap. They are both air dried, and they are both carded right here in the US. So what you see is the core wool is just a little bit coarser. The micron is closer to about 26, and MC1 is closer to about 25. They'll feel very similar. Our core wool, the CW1, is always undyed, and you'll notice a little bit more vegetable matter in it, which allows us to sell it for a little bit less expensive. And it's just designed to be the core of your piece. So when you want to make a piece like this, one approach is to use wire, armature, whether it's something as simple as a chenille stem or something like the harder wire that I showed you a second ago. And this is the approach I would take. I'm going to make a loop first and put my wool through that loop. And I'm going to show you exactly how I made this super firm shape, which is great to build the gnome, like I said, tall or small. And some of you have seen this, and I know you might be bored. I hope not too bored. Hi, Marie. Okay, so then I'm going to make a twist, and I'm actually going to fold up this bottom. Any pokey ends are going to come out. Now here's what I want to teach you, is the trick to getting a really firm piece is you want to roll with no air in your piece. One of the keys to doing that is having a strip that is narrow enough to control, not too bulky. So when you start your piece, I start by rolling towards myself, or in this case, like this. I'm rolling towards myself, and then I might flip it around. But even if I do, I am not letting go. I am holding on just as tightly as I can. Now, this is exactly how I form a little piece like this, the buildup of I'm leaving this off for now just to save us all time. To save us all the pain of Marie felting this whole thing. So I keep twisting it around, and I'm not letting any air get into the twist. And you can stop when you get to the end of that strip or when you're ready. Meaning if you just want to pause and firm that up. But here's the thing. Some people ask about, do you bang into the wire? Notice how much wool we have on here already. And like, I can needle felt this without really banging into the wire if I want to. And the wool's kind of holding itself in place. So I'm going to have Anne turn me down here so you can see my little foam pad. Are we good? Can you just see the foam and not all my mess?
Nope, you can see the mess.
Yeah, it says you can see my mess. Best we can, just so y'all aren't so distracted. Okay, are we good?
We are good.
Or should I be higher? This is my blue needle. And when you're felting with the blue needle, you're going to crunch it in and get all this to lay down. Notice that I have never let go of the tension. And all I want to do right now is get all of this compressed as much as possible. So what you do is roll it without any air in it and then hold on to it when you put those initial needle felts in. Can you see fine?
I'm gonna grab just another phone just to
Anne's gonna lift me up one here because we're gonna do a little bit of demonstration around this guy today. And mostly what I wanna build are your fundamentals. Once you have the fundamentals, this is gonna convey to all the other pieces that you do. So notice, I haven't let go, I haven't let go. I'm going at a slight angle. I'm not going straight in and banging into that wire. And I'm working the whole piece at a time. Now with this, I'm gonna have a very, very firm core to build on. I'm gonna show you another way really fast if you don't want wire in the middle. This piece, I wanna tell you, is pretty darn firm, and I can keep working on it, which I would, to achieve a shape like this. And all I would do differently is felt all the way across the end of these and continue to build up where you want more wool. So this is already coming pretty firm. Anne's gonna raise my deck here. Thank you, Anne.
absolutely.
See if that's better. Probably. Okay. Yep. Okay, so we're just starting this piece here. Now let me switch and I'm gonna show you one more method you can use if you don't wanna use wire in the middle. You definitely don't have to. Let's see if I have this. Sorry for the dead air. I thought I had a skewer. Okay, so I'm just going to show you this on the skewer. So the difference is, I started this piece already to look at the gnome, is this is a wooden skewer. And some of you have seen me work with this in the past. It's one of the first tools I was ever gifted, and that's to roll on the skewer. So now this piece is loosey-goosey. All I did was wrap it around super loose because this is going to be my gnome hat. And I'm going to jump back to that in a second, but let me show you this is just the same. Yes, the wood is very noticeable, but you'll just needle felt into it, the piece, going parallel, parallel, parallel with that wooden skewer. So just don't bang into it. Go parallel to it and compress your wool as much as you want to. Okay, so in this case, the only difference is I wrapped around a wooden skewer, bamboo skewer, and some people use something thicker. I just like to use something narrow because I'm going to be taking it out. So we're going to look at the Gnome. Okay, so to look at the Gnome, for people who are brand new, once you start a shape like this and you have it going, or it might be a shape like this, my little fox. I did find all the pictures for the fox, so the vote has been made that people want a kit. The staff wants me to make a kit for this, but for you all, we're going to give you the instructions for free. But I did find them all, so we're going to put them together. This is one little gnome. I'm just laying him down since this is our view right now. One little gnome covered in brown and our cinnamon brown. And I don't do a lot of detail on a gnome, but I just want to show you how we go from here to here. I have a little bit different colors. This again is our MC1, one of our beautiful berry colors. And while it's kind of thick, see how thick it is? And this is a cut end. I really don't work with the cut end. You can go to a more tapered end. And we're going to work at even half the thickness. So I just break it apart and halt me with any questions.
Alrighty, we do have a few.
I'm going to peel this.
First is going to come from Sonia Weeks Oswald. She asks, do you ever start with synthetic or other material on large pieces to save wool?
I don't. But you know, you're talking to the wool headquarters. That's not to be arrogant. I'm saying like I don't, and I like working with wool. Just like I don't wrap string. Like I don't like to wrap, you know, make my wool loosey goosey and then wrap string around it. And I know a lot of people do, but I just don't. I would rather needle felt a firm core than wrap string and have a loosey core inside. Okay, so here I have my bat. I split it in half. I'm gonna lay my piece right on there and I'm gonna roll it, you know, like a nice burrito. I know you fold your burritos probably, but roll it up and then choose your needle from this point. You don't have to stick with your really coarse needles. You can go to your star or your spiral needles and get this laying down. Or you can go to, here's a pen tool loaded with 3/38 spirals. If I'm really still trying to compress wool, then I'll use this. So this is loaded with 3/38 spirals, or you could jump straight to your fine needles at this point when you're just doing the surface. It's a little bit slower, but it would guarantee that your surface, and you all see me do this all the time, that your surface is going to be more smooth. So notice the first thing I did was just tack down that connection, the flange, I call it the flange, where the wools came together. That's the very first thing I did. On the bottom, we can always patch over any bare spots. So I'm just gonna get this rounded and work around the whole piece. Stop me with any questions, Anne.
Alrighty, and Vicki Ryan asks, does your soy foam fall apart like regular foam does after several pokes?
The thing with the soy foam is it has a skin on one side and it's very shallow, but it's really designed for 3D use and not 2D use, so you shouldn't be tearing it up. We don't find that it tears apart. Someone's messaging me. We don't find that it tears apart, but I wouldn't use it for 2D work myself. I would use it for 3D work where you don't plan on going into it all the time. So notice here, like I've never even gone into my foam once. So this is all I'm going to do. I'm going to work this piece until this is all laying down, and then I'm going to add my hat. So I'm going to show you, here's an example of how we add a little hat. So I started you with the little roll that we have here. So I'm going to basically talk you through how I do this. The best I can, we're going to get something made here. I will shape this and firm this on the skewer because that gives me a core to go into. Continue shaping your hat, firming it up on your skewer. You can even go right into the base, right in here. This is how I flatten a piece, but you can go right down the shaft of the skewer to kind of get it more flat. That helps firm it up. Go this way too and firm it up. Get it firm so that it's holding together pretty nicely for you before you take it off. And you can finish, we're gonna shape it and finalize it on our gnome. But notice also that I'm flipping it around and around. I'm not just now going parallel to the skewer. As this is firming up, I'm going a little more, at a little more better diagonal. How are you all doing?
Good.
I can't, Sammy, sweetie, I can't change my phone. I can't change it now that we're started. Sorry. Nobody messaged me? I try to put my phone on Do Not Disturb, but Facebook is having issues. I keep having to restart right before we go live. It's been crazy. Okay, so notice that I've sort of started to really shape, this is going to be my hat, although it might look just like the gnome. And when you take it off your skewer, then what I do is kind of fluff out this base and pretend my little gnome here was finished. And I'm going to attach it right here to the gnome. So again, just pretend that I've needle felted him a little bit better. And you can use your really coarse needles, especially your 38. And my hat isn't finished, so that gives me some working room to attach it. And I'm just going straight into this piece so that I can attach it from the most formed part of the hat. Work it all the way around. So I'm really driving into the top of the gnome's head, if you will.
Alrighty, and Judy Stadola asked, can you wet felt a 3D piece with armature?
Gosh, I'd really have to canoodle that, Judy, because I've never done it myself that I can think of. I'd really have to think about that. With a wire armature, I mean, if you just want to wet felt it 100% with armature, I more think of like stuffing it if it's wet felted and it's a 3D shape. So notice here that I'm just flattening out all these parts of the hat that were the connection that came down. And I'll show you how we make our little brim. Is this helpful, y'all?
We're getting a lot of thank yous, and Renee Gatewood shares that she's learning so much.
Oh good, oh good, oh good. So yeah, this is honestly, I would finish this more before applying the hat, but this is my favorite thing to do, is to sit down with this little piece at night and just nerd out on flattening everything out. So this is a real rough sculpture. To shape the hat to get funky and quirky, you know, like these guys are, I leave it kind of loose how you see it now. See how I can bend it? And now I'm going to start to shape it. So use your coarse needles. Just decide how you want it to go. I don't know if it helps you guys if I need to move. But just drive into the folds that you like. Like, just crunch it over.
And Spring Southern Ridge asks, if it's felted too firm, does it make it harder to felt the details on top?
No, not if you're doing the core. I mean, I wouldn't go to a level 10. I would stick somewhere between 8 and 9 because you need the fiber to have some receptivity. I have received pieces that I could tell where the core was needle felted too firmly because the top is just pockmarked and there's nowhere for the fiber to go. Which reminds me, while I needle felt this for a second, somebody, and I'm so sorry I didn't write down your name, as part of today asked about needle felting to styrofoam or some kind of insulation foam. And I wanted to comment just that, like, in a lot of ways, you're not fully felting it because in order to felt it, the fibers need to be able to entangle. And to entangle, they need to be able to go around and around. And when you're just tacking to something like that really hard foam that has no receptivity, you'll find that in some ways it looks less felted. And I noticed that with anything I see needle felted to a styrofoam ball, it tends to rough up pretty easily. Now with a picture, you may not be concerned about that, but I would say if it's not acid free, it's gonna kind of eat away at your fiber over time. You know, I don't know if you all know it, but like all the Muppets by Jim Henson, they break down over time and they actually lose them if they can't remake them because they won't hold up. Because the wool, the foam in there breaks down. And I would just say, you know, just consider the longevity and the importance of the piece to you. So that's a basic idea of how I shape the hat. And this is really rough, but then I would go around and smooth it out and clean it up. All I want with my 38 stars, my 38 spirals, and my 42s. And I'm going to show you how I make the brim. Not the brim, but the roll up. Yes, Anne, tell me anything.
It is funny that you mentioned brim. Spring also asked, how would you make a brim for a hat?
Yeah, I mean, if you want this to be a brim, like in this case, I usually just do the, you know, the little roll up. But if you want it to be a brim, then what I've done in the past, like I have a couple of snowmen around, is I needle felt a complete circle. I would needle felt a complete circle and give it dimension, and I would have needle felted this to that brim and then needle felted the whole thing on. That's how, we'll grab one of our snowmen before the show is up and show you what we did there. So here, if you take this and then you just fold up this layer, then you can just tack all this down. And notice, I'm not driving into the foam. I'm just trying to tack the fiber down so that it lays down. And we just want a little roll. And some of y'all might remember we did dolls, peel, and do the other side. We did dolls, some doll clothing and stuff earlier in the year. This is the same process. No big difference here. And that's why I call them fundamentals or building blocks, because you can use this to even build. Robin Barrett had asked about my large gnome, and I know we just don't have time to do that on this broadcast, but this is how I build the sleeves and everything. I'm going to show you just a couple more things. So I'm going to go straight into the bottom, and then we can just wrap this around. we can just wrap this around this piece. Now I'm going to tear off all this excess because we don't need it. We can wrap this around. And I'm going to like to give that one a little bit of dimension too. And notice that I didn't fuss over the very ends. And that's because I want to have a nice join, almost an invisible join. So I'll just tack this down so it's staying in place. And then I'm going to wrap this one around. And now I've got a finished sort of edge here. This one's at least started, and this one's a little more loose. And that way I'm going to be able to blend it in. So remember when you blend, to go with and not against. Whenever you blend, you want to go like just like this. And this is like smoothing this.
Here we go.
I'm so sorry, y'all. I'm going to have to set up a new do not disturb for my phone. I can only have one. My phone only lets me have one. Okay, so here we have our join, and notice that this is all still loose. I'm not fussing over it. The first thing I'm doing is just getting these pieces to all play together nicely. And then we can shape this into the rest of the hat. And remember, go towards, you know, where you want it to blend and not against. Towards, and not against.
Alrighty, and Lori Alviar asks, will ending off with the finer needles get rid of pockmarks?
Yeah, this is for everyone. Some people are going to say Marie's a broken record. So the thing I say is, rather than think about getting rid of pock marks, your needle marks, think about compressing the wool down to where those marks are. So in some cases, as you roll your piece, it's going to kind of smooth it out. But the firmer, you know, if you get it nice and firm, it's a lot easier to make it even. So I like to go around and put a little shelf on the bottom. This is how I do that before I go too far. I'm going to go underneath and form that little shelf. And so I do some of the shaping before I'm finished. And then I'm going to go right into here, like if I want it to look like it's kind of folded in funny places. Put those put those folds in now, and then go back and flatten it out in between. But this is going to make it look a little more wrinkly. So yes, switch to your finer needles, but do it before you get too far. I say, you know, do it when you're like at the, you know, 80% mark. It's a little more tedious, meaning it takes a little bit more time to finish your piece, but it's really going to help. And this is a bang, 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 bang quick job. I mean, in a workshop, we'd spend, what, Ann, 3 hours making this thing so that everybody's coming along. So some people posted, we did a demonstration of the 42 needle, was it last time? And some people already posted like how their hat had firmed up.
And Linda Reeder asks, what needle are you using now?
This one, the unmarked one, is a 38 spiral. So I could also be using these 3 38 spirals together. And someone had said, oh, my, you know, needle felting firm or whatever takes so long. And my first trick is, see how these three will really crunch in here, but they also leave big marks. And my trick to going faster is make your cores firmer. The firmer you make your cores, the faster it's all going to go. This is 236. I'm sorry, I thought I had loaded 242s. You can hold 242s too. I do that. This one's bent. I do that all the time, but usually I keep a pen tool loaded with at least 2, and then you can go around and just tack the surface to smooth it out. So this is the super quick. When you get to this point, now's the time to take your time and get everything smooth and flat. And I would keep working it till it looked a little more like this guy. He's not hard at all. This guy is pretty soft. So sometimes I don't even felt hard, especially something like this. To me, it doesn't matter all that much. Now someone had asked that how often do I change needles because they've gotten old? Rarely. I rarely notice that a needle is not working, but I only use my needles on foam. I mean wool. I'm not driving my needles through canvas. And I think that if you drive your needles through just wool, that they last a long, long time. Okay, what do you guys want? Gray beard or white beard for this little guy? These are big locks for a little guy. Gray beard or white beard? Any votes? I think he kind of looks like a gray beard.
I kind of like the gray.
Okay, gray. No, we can't.
Darlene Samuel chimed in first. Oh, 2 people have said gray.
Okay, let's go with gray. So with these locks, and some of you know, if you want to separate your locks, find the natural curly tip and grab that. Always find the natural curly tip if you want to separate them one by one, rather than try and split them from the cut end. So find your little locks, however you want to put them. He has a fun assortment of locks. And I'm just going to peel some of these out. Now, usually with a little gnome, we'll decide what color are his locks going to be. And let's put on his little face patch so we kind of know where that's going to be. This is our peachy skin tone. So it's not the pale peach, it's peachy. And you can see how well it kind of matches my skin tone. And what are you, more peachy? Ant's more towards the peachy. I mean pale peach. Ant's more towards the pale peach. I'm a little more peachy. So for this, I'm just going to tack his little face right on there. So notice I've just torn off a little piece. Decide how big you want his face to be. For me, like I said, I rarely see the gnome's face. And I'm just going to tack this right underneath there. And I'm sorry I can't upside down this for you all.
And Donna Duda asks, what part of the sheep do locks come from?
The outside. That's just the lock. I mean, so the thing with locks are when an animal is sheared, you know, it's coming from their neck, their back, all the way down to like their belly and the tops of their legs. Usually what's taken off is, it's called skirting. After the animal has been sheared, the whole fleece is laying out, and they take off the britch and the belly. So everything around the seat of the animal, that's going to be dirty. Sometimes the neck gets thrown out because, so especially if they're hay fed, so much of the hay gets stuck up there in the neck fur, even though sometimes that's like the cutest. See, it's the cutest locks up there sometimes. So the locks are just coming from the whole fleece except for what's been skirted, and that's dirty, mucky, dookie, icky stuff. Okay, so make your little face just as big as you want, and I'm going to show you how I make a nose.
Sarah Gilbert.
We're doing good?
We're doing good. Sarah Gilbert asks, what's the best way to store locks? I've noticed that locks I've left in bags are getting felted to each other.
Oh, that doesn't happen for me, and I have a big old tub of locks. So I would say, what's happening to that bag, and are the locks clean? But we store locks unwashed in plastic, and maybe those particular locks are super delicate, and you might just look at those, but I keep all my locks in plastic bags. No problem. I'm going to make a nose real fast here, and this face is rough at best. But we're going to cover it up with a nose and a beard, and then we'll just refine the parts we want. So let's give our guy a big old nose, and I'm going to turn around here so you can see just how I do it. And I'm going to start with a little piece, and some of y'all seen this. It's in our basic shapes video, kind of. Roll a tube. We doing good?
Doing good.
Okay.
Carla Redmond asks, so the chenille stem stays in the body, but you pull out the wood one.
Correct.
Could you just break the wood skewer and leave it in?
It's a thought, but if any dog gets a hold of it or a little kid and that wood pokes out, you know, you may get some nasty injury. And so I wouldn't leave something like wood, something that's going to wood and splinter in there. Probably not. Unless it's just for you, then yeah, you could cut it. But I would bury it pretty good in wool. Okay, so here we are in the nose. I've just made a little tube. And then I'm just going to roll up the ends and then make a little ball, and then may as well just roll it one more time. Now, if you want a firm bridge of the nose, you can take a little pinch or so of wool, one-handed now, and you could put it right in there, or you could even roll a tube and put it in there. But here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take my little gnome and turn him around, and I'm just going to pluck that nose right on there, just like that. Can y'all see that? Oh yeah, I think they can see that. Okay, and then I'm going to tack it down with whatever needle. I'm using my 36. I'm just going to tack down the corners first, just so it's kind of in place. And this guy's not going to have much detail. We'll give him some little eyes, although often a gnome doesn't have eyes. I'm going to tack down the edges. Notice that at the base of the nose, I just kind of go straight down, so that we form a little bit of a shelf. And then we'll go right into that newt of his right into the bottom, right there, and make holes. So you can start, this is my 38 needle if you want to be gentle at first, and then if you like where you put those, then you can go back with your 36, however you want to do it.
Okay, we got a couple questions. The first is going to come from Paula, and she asks, can you needle felt rainy?
What?
Can you needle felt rainy?
Oh, rammy. You know, I've never tried to needle felt rammy, so I've never tried to needle felt it. Usually it's used in wet felting applications. So actually I've never tried. I do have some, but it's never occurred to me. And for those of you who don't know, it's going to seem a little more like a merino top, you know, a little more somewhere between like a cross of merino top and tussa silk.
Terry asks, is there a difference between ewe wool and ram wool, or even lamb wool?
Well, lamb, so she's asking, is there a difference between ewe, E-W-E, ram, and lamb? And my best answer to that is that fiber varies from animal to animal and shear to shear. So one animal is not going to be the same shear to shear. Very often with lamb locks, you'll see like a cute curly Q-tip. Sometimes lamb locks are the longest. They're grown the longest. Sometimes they're the shortest. It really depends on the animal. So I think that it's not as such a black and white question. I don't think that there's a real easy answer for that.
And Janet Kane asks, why wouldn't you put the face color on before the hat?
Oh, I don't know, because then I decide where the head is. I don't know, maybe it was a bigger doll. Now with this little guy, what I'm going to do is these are great big locks for such a little tiny guy, but what you can do is just fold them in half, and we did some with beards last week, and I usually start right up there around his face, and I trim the whole face just because gnome, gnomes are so goofy.
And Vicki Ryan asks, what is the best lamb fleece to get the curliest locks?
I can't answer that. I can just say buy and try. That's why I always try and show you different types of fleeces. It depends on how big you want you to be and how shiny. So I don't think I can answer that, because even if I buy the same animal and Ann knows, or I buy the same breed over and over, it can vary from year to year. It can depend on how the winter was there, what they ate, how much rain they had. There's so many variables that go into it. I would just say, if you start to find a breed that you like, then you can keep buying that breed. But trust me, it's going to change from year to year. And we try and provide some nice curly locks each year, but I know we can't supply the world with locks. We run out. So right now I'm just applying one lock at a time. Is everyone falling asleep?
No, a lot of people are feeling very, very inspired. I know Sharon Demir said that she knows what to do now with the locks that she won in Woolly Wednesday last week.
Oh, sweet. Gnomes, you know what? Gnomes are really fun. They're easy to give. They can go on the fridge. They can go on a gift. They can go on your desk. They're, hang from your rearview mirror. They definitely don't have to be just for Christmas. They make a great class if you guys want to teach a class. They really do. And it takes so little wool. And as you saw already, there's a few different approaches you can take to it.
And, Tammy Saulnier asks, can I ask how much you would price a little guy for? I would love to do some for a craft fair.
How much to sell?
Mm-hmm.
Gosh, you're asking the wrong person, Tammy. Just because I don't sell my pieces. I know that my friend Lee out here in Elgin, now I don't know what she's charging now, but a couple of Christmases ago I went to the Christmas fair and her gnomes were like $25 each. And I just thought, I know, it seems so inexpensive to me when you think about how much time goes into them, but maybe she has like a production method. Me, I just don't, I gift rather than sell, so I may not be the best person. But my pricing is called no regret pricing, and so that means if you sell it, you'll be willing to let it go for that price, and then maybe you'd be willing to do it again and again for that price. That's the right price. I know I've seen lots of people that I fell in love with on Etsy stop selling, and I know why. It's because the work was more than the money. The work was more than the money, and so the money should match the work. and that means for you too. So I like this little guy like that, and I think I'm going to put one more dark curl up top. And he's not, I would say that he's not finished refined. For me, I would spend time working on him, working on smoothing out all his details. And usually I do a lot of that before his beard goes on. I'm going to show you just a couple of more things so that you can take what we did today and translate it. Yes, Anne?
And Sharon asks, can you show a close-up of your work in progress now?
Oh, this one? Oh, I'm sorry that it's not very close. Does that help? It's not very, the face is kind of rough, I would say.
And Becky asks, if you wanted a fridge magnet, would you just hot glue the magnet on?
Yeah, exactly. You could just hot glue it right on the back, or you could, yeah, you could cover it with a little patch piece. So that's him up close. And if you wanted to give him little eyes, you could. Oh, it's already 10 till, so we're gonna have to stop. You could give him eyes if you want. A lot of times a gnome doesn't have eyes, so it's really up to you. I've done glass eyes, I've done wool eyes, I've done no eyes, and all I did was just poke that in. You don't even have to make it round. It just sort of rounds itself out, and give him eyelids or whatever. So let me show you, just, you know, go ahead, Anne.
We're just,
I'm out.
People are just posting such nice things about Woolly Wednesday. Terry shares every week, I think, this is the best Woolly Wednesday, but each time you make the next one better. A lot of people are posting that this has been a great inspiration day, and it's just so beautiful.
You all are so sweet. I love you so much, and you make this job so easy. We're busy, no kidding. We're busy, we're running, but what makes it easy is all the love that's flowing. So look at him, he's just fun. And like I said, he's unrefined, but you know, take your time with them, have fun. Now, so little fox, oh, would you use merino pre-felt for the hat, Barb? You know what, Barb? You can. I love using our MC1 batting, but people absolutely use the pre-felts, and you can use the pre-felts, but I don't, because I like how much wool I can pile on there and get all that crazy shape, and I love the variegated colors of MC1. But the pre-felt is absolutely an option. It absolutely is. Now it's much finer than our MC1, so there is a big difference with that. Any final questions? I know I had a few things to say. Let me show you just a couple of hat versions. Anne brought these in, thank you. So here's a top hat, and he was made, so the whole hat was made and then needle felted on. You can even sew it on, you know, you can sew it on from underneath. So we made the whole hat, needle felted in, and then put the hat band on. And then this little guy is so goofy. He's just got his like little watch cap on. So we just, you know, all we did was put the wool right on his head and then just make this little rim, the same with the scarf, and just put the little brim right on there. So easy to do. I need to look at my cue cards. Are they down here? Oh, buried under all my stuff, because I want to be sure and tell you guys some other things. So when will the fox tutorial be up? So here's the deal with the fox tutorial. We've decided to make you know, a simple little kit, but for you all, we're going to put up a coupon so that you can get the PDF for free for like a limited time. So mostly it's going to be people who watch this. We're going to post it back here on this Woolly Wednesday, and I'll let you know when that is. And I swear I can do this by the end of the weekend. And I know I said that last weekend, but I've picked up a new hobby. And I did it all last weekend, and it was really fun to take a few days off. So this little guy, we will share him, and some of the techniques you saw in here today, you'll see translate perfectly to him, as well as some other things that we showed you. So listen, I want to make a couple of announcements. And first of all, thank you. Let me just say that I know we always say thank you at the end, but I want to say thank you for spending so much of this year with us. We have been doing Woolly Wednesday since the first month. We thought it was going to be once a month, and then we said maybe twice a month, and pretty fast it became every week. So you all coming back and giving us this inspiration and giving us challenges is just huge, and we love it. So thank you for spending so much of your time this year with us. Anne's about to burst if I don't let her speak.
Everybody wants to know what your new hobby is.
I'm learning to sew. So this is like Marie's big deal at age 50. I didn't learn from my mother because she wasn't around. So I'm learning to sew, and that's just huge for me. And so that is super fun. And so I'm working in the felt with the sewing somehow, and got myself a new machine, and I've just been buzzing away like all the time. So they're both going to come together, and it's causing me to really think about complex resist for wet felting projects like I'm doing on the sewing. But my sewing's like so elementary. Wait till you see. You'll see, like, is there a level 0? Level 0. Marie's at level 0. Oh, listen, hey, Anne's got some news for you, and then I have 2 announcements. So we might run a little bit over, but this very important announcement comes to you by Anne McDonald.
Alrighty, so we do have a very important announcement. Our Merino top 21.5 micron and higher is going on sale. We have got some very exciting, fun new things, and so we are having a closeout sale for the 21.5 and higher Merino top. Again, it's a closeout sale. So that fiber is going to be priced down to $2.94 per ounce. Yep, that one. $2.49 per ounce, or that's going to be at $39.84 per pound. And we do have a discount if you buy 1 pound in 3 or more colors.
Or 48 ounces or more.
48 ounces or more, thank you. You'll get an additional 10% off, and no coupon is required for that. It will apply automatically. Mm-hmm. Yes. Mm-hmm. Fun new stuff coming.
That's right, I promise. Also, Anne brought in these selection of colors. Each of these beautiful beauties is a pound. There's definitely limited stock, and we'll call you if we're out of stock on something or if we run out, but as colors sell out, that's final. So this is like a no returns final sale. We're closing out all Merino over 21 micron. And so someone says, is it going to be still the start of next month? It's while supplies last. So right now we're just closing it all out. If you want to be sure you get something, you might pick up the phone at 305-306. Or you can order now, because everything that we have online now is available. So I've got 2 more announcements for you. Super fun stuff. So let me give you this one, and I hope I say it clearly. Tomorrow, on Friday, I want you to watch for a challenge we're going to post. And we're going to post the question, a big wide open question without multiple choice, kind of to say, what is on your bucket list to learn to felt next year, or for your professional development? So some of you want to learn how to do this better, how to do this, how to do that, and develop yourself as an artist or as a business. And some of you want to just learn to felt new things. We're going to post a challenge and ask you to submit your answers. You can post as many answers as you want, but what we're going to have is 1 entry per person, no matter how many times you post. And we're going to do drawings from there, and 2 people are going to win a living felt mug. 2 people are going to win their very own living felt mug as part of that. And you might remember that still one of those mugs has a gift certificate in it. So we're going to pull a name from that list, and really we're just going to do that for a few days, like maybe a week. We'll have that challenge up for a week so that we announce the winners on next Woolly Wednesday. So on next Woolly Wednesday, 2 people are going to win a living felt mug, and at least one of them has a gift certificate in it. So watch for that challenge tomorrow. It's called the Bucket List Challenge. The second thing I want to tell you about, everyone listen, birds. We're having a 2018 Birds Call. Is that how you would say it? Bird Calls. Bird Calls 2018. Here's what we want to do. We want to do a live show and tell on Woolly Wednesday, mid to late January. We want to show off your birds. 2D or 3D felted birds, of course, not sewn or anything else. So felted birds. And here's what we're going to have you do. Anne's going to post the basic details. What you'll do is send an email to friends with your photos. Tell us about the bird or birds, what inspired them, what you used. Also, your Etsy shop or your web shop or your blog. because if your birds are selected, we're going to have you mail them to us. We will show them on the show, tell all about them, and we'll pimp your blog. I say that with most respect. Or Etsy or Facebook or whatever. But we want to do a live show and tell, and we'll pay shipping both ways. So we're looking for a fresh flock of fun. So you all send your birds to us. So the first thing to do is to send an email to friends, and Anne just posted, right? Directions there. Okay, am I forgetting anything? No. What am I forgetting?
Nope, I forgot something.
Anne forgot something.
Me, I'm posting a link to the Nedds class.
Okay, Anne's posting a link to the Nedds class. So remember, Megan is coming in April. This class is like a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Hit up your family, hit up your friends. This is the class you want to take. We do have a layaway program so that you can pay for it in 5 chunks, and you only need to pay the first 3 to save your spot. And I guess that's all. They're jingling. Come on in, girls. We're going to give away presents. We're going to give away prizes. Remember Kimberly Pulli's class? Come felt with me. I'm going to take both these classes. Okay. So now we're going to give away presents. Speedy's asleep.
Anne, do you want to draw the first name?
Let's see. Carol Jensen.
Yay, Carol! Congratulations. Y'all might remember that a few weeks ago, Carol submitted some awesome tutorials for us on how to photograph your work. Yeah. So what she win, Anne?
She won a clover pen tool.
Yay! So who knows if that'll fit, because I know she wet belts, but there she goes, a clover pen tool. Don't leave home without it. I have one in my purse. That's true that. Having a hearts for Carol. Congratulations to Carol.
Alrighty, Linda Reader.
Yay! Linda! Congratulations. What'd she win, Anne?
She won a deluxe cardinal kit.
Yay! Super fun, or makes a great gift. So everything to needle felt the cardinal picture, including foam and needles. Congratulations. Final one.
Is this our last winner of 2017?
No.
No?
We're going to be here next week.
All right. Well, today we got Jalen Morehouse. Jalen Morehouse.
Jalen, congratulations. Woohoo!
Alrighty, Jalen, you won 1 ounce of our dyed assorted locks and two ounce rolls of MC1 in your choice of colors.
Yay! So whatever colors you want, we have over 80 now. You can email customer service at Living Felt and let us know what colors you want, and we even have specific colors of locks, so you can get a rainbow back or one color. That's awesome. Okay, I think that's all we have for today. Thanks you all so much.
Merry Christmas.
Have a great holiday, and we'll see you next week. Bye.